Hey, so have you ever jumped into Microsoft Fabric's data engineering world and just felt completely lost? All the jargon, all the different terms. Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to clear all that up.
Let's start with a big one, a real classic point of confusion. What in the world is the difference between a Spark job and a Spark application? I mean, they sound almost the same, right? But as you'll see, they have very, very different roles to play. And to really get it, we're not just going to stare at some boring definitions. No way. We're actually going to build a data project together, right from scratch. That way we can see exactly how each piece of this puzzle fits into the big picture. All right, first things first. Every project, whether it's building a house or a data pipeline, needs a solid foundation. In Fabric, we call this our digital workshop. Let's get it set up.
So, the absolute first thing you need is a workspace. The best way to think about this is like your team's shared workshop, or maybe a plot of land. It's the main container where everyone on the project comes together to collaborate and build all their stuff. Now, it's super important not to get a workspace mixed up with a tenant. Just think of it like this. The tenant is the entire company, the whole office building. A workspace, that's just one specific workshop or one conference room inside that building that's dedicated to your team and your project. Okay, so inside our brand new workspace, we need a place to put all of our materials, right? Our data. And in Fabric, that's the Lakehouse. This thing is awesome. It's like a combination of a data lake and a data warehouse, giving you one single place to store everything, your perfectly structured tables and even your messy, unstructured file. And what makes the Lakehouse so powerful is just how flexible it is. It's this one unified spot for everything, and both Spark and SQL can talk to it. It also supports something called ACID transactions. You don't need to know the deep technical details, but basically it just means your data operations are rock solid. Nothing's going to get corrupted, it's super reliable. But the Lakehouse has another trick up its sleeve. It has this kind of secret weapon that works behind the scenes to make everything you do with your data way, way faster. It's a feature called VORE. And honestly, the easiest way to picture it is as a super intelligent filing system. It's constantly organizing your data in the most efficient way possible. And the best part? You don't have to do a thing. It just happens. This makes reading data incredibly fast, which means better performance. And yep, it can even save you money on costs. Okay, our foundation is poured and our workshop is built. Now it's time to open up the toolkit and start drawing up the blueprints for what we actually want to build with all this data. And the main tool we're going to use for this part of the job is the notebook. Think of this as your interactive drafting table. It's this really creative, flexible space where you can get your hands dirty, you can explore the data, write some code, and see your results pop up right away. Now here's the cool part. Every single time you hit run on some code in your notebook, you are kicking off a Spark application. Let's break that down. The application is the whole enchilada, your big picture goal, like generate the weekly sales report. To do that, Spark breaks it down into big steps called jobs, things like load all the data or clean up the customer info. Then each job gets broken down even further into tiny little tasks, like remove this one duplicate. So remember that flow: application, job, task, from the big goal down to the tiny action. So we've explored the data, we've sketched out our plan in the notebook, but that was all just the design phase. Now it's time to move over to the factory floor and turn our blueprint into something that can be built over and over again automatically. And this brings us to a really, really important idea in any data project. You have to understand the difference between that creative, messy, experimental phase of developing an idea and the structured, clean, reliable phase of running it in production. Yeah, development is all about playing around, being interactive, trying stuff, breaking stuff, and figuring out the best way to do something. Production, on the other hand, well, that's got to be totally automated, super efficient, and 100% reliable. No surprises. So as we just saw, the notebook is absolutely perfect for development. That flexibility, that instant feedback, it's the perfect environment for all that creative trial and error work. But once you've figured out your code and you know it works, you can't just keep running it from some messy notebook forever. That's not reliable. You need to formalize it. And that is where the Spark job definition comes in. Think of it as the final laminated recipe card. It takes your perfect code from the notebook and packages it up with exact instructions so it can run on a schedule automatically and reliably every single time. Okay, we've talked about the workshop, the blueprints, the recipe card. Let's take a step back and look at how all these pieces fit together in a real project, from the very beginning to the very end. Here it is, the whole journey. Day 1, you do your setup. You create your workspace, you build your lakehouse. Day 2 is for exploration. You grab a notebook and you start developing the logic for your Spark application. Day 3, you finalize it. You take that logic and create a formal Spark job definition. And finally, Day 4, you automate it. You submit that job to run on a schedule. See, it's a really clear path from a rough idea all the way to a finished automated product. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. Fabric gives you a clear, structured path for the entire process. You go from a collaborative workspace where you can brainstorm and play, all the way to a fully automated job that just runs like clockwork, turning that raw data into real results. So there you have it. We've gone through the entire toolkit, from the digital workshop to the final automated product. And I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you know how all the pieces work, what's the first data project you would build?